In proof number 35, I'm given that AM is congruent to CM and that AB is perpendicular to BD and CD is perpendicular to BD. Well, perpendicular means that I have a right angle, so AB is perpendicular to BD, or makes a right angle, and CD is also perpendicular or makes a right angle to BD. And I'm also given that M is the midpoint of BD, which means that MD and BD have to be the same. Looking at those two triangles, I already know they're congruent because I have an angle side-side, but it's not just angle side-side, it's right angle side-side, which we've been calling hypotenuse leg. So I do know the triangles are congruent, so by CPCTC, angle A and angle C have to be the same. So just in marking the given, I had everything that I needed to finish this proof. Now I just need to make sure that I list all of that information in my proof. Now I'm not going to relist all of this as written. You can mark that for yourself. All of that was given. The first thing that I had to mark for myself was this right angle here at angle B. So I actually marked that angle B is a right angle. And I marked that angle D is a right angle. So it didn't say that it was a right angle, it said it was perpendicular. So I had to know the definition of perpendicular to figure that out. So perpendicular means that I get a right angle. That's important because once I had that right angle, I knew that triangle ABM and triangle CDM are right triangles. And I know that because any triangle that has a right angle in it is a right triangle. So what that is the definition of right triangle. And some of you are probably asking, well, why is that important that I write that down? Well, it's important because we're going to use hypotenuse leg, and you don't have a hypotenuse in a leg unless you have a right triangle. So it's important to state that in your proof. The next thing that I marked on the picture after the right angles and then the right triangles was that I had BM and MD the same. So it didn't strictly or directly tell me that BM and MD were the same. I had to use the concept of midpoint to figure that out. So my reason for that, again, is another definition, and it's the definition of midpoint. Once I had all of those things marked, I was able to say, well, I know those triangles are congruent. We're talking about triangle ABM, congruent to triangle CDM, because of the hypotenuse leg theorem. And again, that's right angle, side, side. And then once the triangles are congruent, I can say that those angles, angle A and angle C, have to be congruent because the corresponding parts of those congruent triangles are congruent, or CPCTC. Now, like all the proofs before, I always go back and I make sure I listed everything that I need. If I'm using hypotenuse leg, I need to make sure that the hypotenuses are listed in my proof. Well, that was AM and CM, so I did list the hypotenuse in my given. The leg was BM and MD, so I listed that right here in my proof. And the third thing that I have to list is that I have right triangles. So I did list all three things that I need. I have right triangles, which gives me a hypotenuse and a leg, so those are congruent, so I can use CPCTC.